Hello, hello. Well, we're live now. Thank you for joining us. So everybody received an email from the union regarding Illinois' update on the SOCI situation, their contract with the Department of Homeland Security, providing skip tracing services for ICE. And I was shared that email and was asked to, I was actually asked to react to it live, to tell you my opinions, but also so we could read between the lines, because what they do is they gaslight and they just lie. And I wanted you to know why this is happening, what they're not telling you. And also so you're aware of what's next, why this is happening, because the WFC Union is not going to tell you, Illinois is not going to tell you. And I'll do the best I can to inform you that way. Thank you so much for your patience. I'm going to turn to my screen sharing, and we're going to start with this. Okay, so right here, this is an email sent earlier today. Okay, and as you see right here, it says SOCI DHS contracts and security concerns. Now, this was sent by the Washington Federation of State Employees, or the WFC Union, as you know them, Interpreters United, Local 1671. But this came actually from Mark Hamilton. Well, he calls himself a labor negotiator. I think that's what he does or whatever. But the thing is, this is in response to the situation between SOCI and ICE, the Department of Homeland Security. If you remember, I posted a couple of videos, emailed everyone, exposing a situation that was already transpiring. I didn't know about it. I was actually researching on that story, trying to verify what I heard and what I saw. And then one interpreter from the North started posting these things because patients started talking about it. And then it was a thing on Facebook. And there is a group called, I believe, ICE Sightings Seattle Tacoma or something. There was a lady named Lucero, and she was sharing, screenshots. And then I conducted my investigation. Not to be talking about it too much, you probably watched the last two videos, or at least received the emails, because I made two videos about it. And what's interesting to me is that the WFC Union was defending this move. They were excusing the SOCI company, and Illinois as well. They were saying, well, you don't have to worry. They sent an email to SOCI. Illinois sent an email, a communication to the WFC Union. The WFC Union was talking to interpreters saying, oh, well, because of Washington's laws, SOCI cannot share that information, cannot assist ICE with their skip tracing contract, telling on injured workers or interpreters. And on the second video, I showed you with evidence how SOCI does not have to abide by any of this, because they have a contract with ICE, which is the federal government, which is above any state laws and regulations when it comes to immigration. And so when I tell you these things, I research these things and make sure that I'm giving you accurate information. And I also suggested, go ahead and talk to any lawyer. Any decent immigration lawyer is going to tell you the same thing. See, in Washington State, I was exposing the fact that our leaders, for good or bad, for better or worse, they like to posture a lot. They like to, engage in these grand gestures. And even Governor Ferguson recently signed a law forbidding ICE agents, supposedly, or any law enforcement in Washington, he said, including ICE agents, to use masks. And so, that's another example of how they gaslight you, because you could pass any laws at the state level, but federal, it's above state laws. So, but that's besides the point. Going back to this is something that they sent earlier today, 4:45 p.m. And this is what triggered one interpreter shared this with me, and then a couple of more shared it. And by the time I was reading the email, it was done. I had like probably 15, 16 emails from interpreters wanting me to address this. And this says right here, since we became aware of SOCI's ties to the Department of Homeland Security and Immigration Customs Enforcement, our union has had several meetings with the state, and that's true. They've had meetings, not very fruitful, but they've had those meetings. And then this is the latest update. It says right here, below is an update we just received from LNI. And I want you to pay attention to this because this is going to be very important, okay? It says right here, this is what they got from LNI supposedly. And I believe it they got from LNI, but I don't believe everything they say here because it is true what they say, but they also word it in a way so you could be deceived, right? It says, I have an update for you regarding the contractor that the Department of Labor and Industries uses, regarding the contractor that the Department of Labor and Industries uses, LNI, to schedule interpreters for medical and vocational services. Okay, so it's talking about SOCI here, the contractor they use for medical and vocational services, interpreting services, right? And then it says, we recently discovered that the contractor SOCI also holds contracts with immigrations and customs enforcement. And I'm going to pause right here. This is what I've been telling you guys. When they say we recently discovered, it's not that I want to be negative. It's not that I want to complain about everything. But do you really believe they recently discovered that SOCI had contracts with ICE? With all the vetting that LNI does, being the government, really? Are you really going to believe that they just recently discovered that because I made some noise, because interpreters were talking about it, because some interworkers were actually going on Facebook groups complaining about it? No, I don't have the evidence because, I don't. And I'm honest about it. When I do have it, I have it. When I don't, I don't. I don't have the evidence to show you they knew, but they knew. And if they didn't know, it was their responsibility to know. So I don't believe for a second they recently were aware of these things. And it says right here, we know there are real concerns in the community of providers, workers, and advocates. And the usual wordsmith here, we're committed. We've committed to keep you up to date. And with that, I have some information, blah, blah, blah. And it says right here, we have, and I want you to pay attention to this, we have contracted with an audit firm to verify and validate the protections that SOCI has in place. What protections? Okay? Abiding by Washington state laws, the contract they have with LNI, I debunked all of that. When it comes to the federal government, okay, nothing's going to stop SOCI from sharing any information for skip tracing services. They're contracting with the federal government. Okay, it is what it is. It says that work is starting now, and we anticipate it will take 2 or 3 months. We'll share the results when the audit is complete. Now, I want you to think about this. Why would they want to audit? Okay, why would they want to audit SOCI right now? To cover their behinds. Do you remember when we were having a lot of issues in the beginning with SOCI? I mean, we still have issues. They have glitches galore. We don't have a reject button yet on the app, on the Spot app to reject appointments, but that's besides the point. The thing is, they conducted a feasibility study. And what is that they did? They handpicked some interpreters, listened to a few concerns, and then they ruled, well, there's nothing wrong with it. There was nothing wrong with the service. There was nothing wrong with SOCI because LNI paid a company to say so. So when they tell you we're going to conduct an audit, take it with a grain of salt. Like, what does that mean? So later they're going to tell us the company that we hired didn't find anything. SOCI's doing everything right. You are okay. We're tired of the same thing. And then they're going to be auditing SOCI for 3 months. Does it really take 3 months for SOCI to open up their books or contracts and show them exactly what they're doing? It took me a minute to find the contract. Okay? I mean, this is just a lot of posturing and grandstanding for nothing. But then this is the news that should be interesting to all of us, and that, they don't want you to exactly, acknowledge what's going on. It says right here, additionally, we are starting the process to award a new contract for these services. The first step will be to issue a new request for qualifications and quotations from potential bidders. We expect that to happen in April. Well, that's great news. If it is what it looks like it is, okay, the beginning of the email says, I have an update for you regarding the contractor that the Department of Labor and Industries uses to schedule interpreters for medical and vocational services. Okay? So if they're going to be looking to award a new contract for these services, these interpreting services, what does that mean to you? Okay, they are acknowledging right here without telling you this was a fiasco, the whole SOCI thing. Okay, it was indefensible. I exposed the hypocrisy. You cannot have a company, and I'm not against or in favor of what SOCI was doing with ICE, okay? They have the right to do so, and I'm not against ICE or in favor of what they're doing. I'm neutral when it comes to that. But the thing is, Washington State, I said it. They pride themselves, in being a sanctuary city in Seattle, sanctuary state. WFC was a sanctuary union that couldn't fight for their own workers. Unbelievable. Right? So I said, why don't you just, end the contract right now? Because you're not going to stop SOCI from sharing that information with ICE, the federal government. You have no authority, but you could cancel the contract. Why didn't they say right then, well, we acknowledge this is problematic. It's a conflict of interest. We cannot stop them. So we cannot cancel the contract immediately, but we're not going to renew the contract, and we will right away look for a new company. They could have done it a couple of months ago, but no, they had to be stubborn and to tell you nothing's going to happen to you. Your personal information is protected by Washington state law. And they assured us we were going to be okay because they promised us. And I mocked that situation a little bit in my last video because Ellen and I told SOCI, trust me, bro. And they believed that. Right? Well, it just happens to be that, they realized they were getting a lot of pressure. Okay? They were getting a lot of, pressure from outside sources, politicians, and all that. This is not a good situation. So look at this. Now they're going to do an audit to cover themselves like they didn't know. Recently, they became aware. Police. Who do you think you're talking to? They treat you like you're children. Like you don't know how to read. Like you're not informed. Like you don't have a brain. Of course they knew. But this is all to protect their behinds. This audit that's going to take 3 months. Unbelievable. And the union, worse, because they defend, these politicians and these people at LNI. It's unbelievable. And so, but now they're going to issue a new request for qualifications and quotations from potential bidders. We expect that to happen in April, and they didn't say April next year, so I'm assuming it's April this year, which is next month, or 10, 11 days from now. I don't know when in April they're going to do that. They're just saying that. Hopefully they'll give us more information. But if you're watching this video and if you read this email earlier, you should be rejoicing because this company has not been good at all whatsoever. And this company started deceiving everyone because LNI asked in their request for proposals that the company winning the contract would have to own the software. And I exposed they do not own the software, and LNI defended them. It's been issue after issue after issue. Not paying on time, months without pay, favoritism, I have more videos coming up about how this company is blocking interpreters without notifying them on behalf of providers that are being manipulated by other interpreters. The same territorial BS. Okay, but that's another video. But I'm telling you, time after time, they had the signs that this company was not going to be any good, and they chose to defend the company. They chose to say, no, we're going to give him a chance, and look what they did. Unfortunately, that time is past, and they decided to take action. But this is a little too late when so many interpreters have left the industry because they were not getting paid on time. There's no work, 20, 30 appointments, here and there. Interpreters that are corrupted, corrupt interpreters have found a way to game the system with providers helping them and using the app to their convenience. Bots and the likes. This is all proven, but they just didn't want to listen. Now, they keep on defending SOCI unbelievably. It says right here, while we navigate these steps, it is important that workers and interpreters have confidence in the security of their personal information. Our contract with SOCI explicitly requires them to protect the personal information of workers and interpreters and to abide by Washington laws like the Keep Washington Working Act. This is all debunked from my last video, okay? You could require whatever you want. They have a contract with ICE. Stop it. Stop it. You're not going to stop them from reporting, using data to help ICE catch immigrants. That's the contract they signed for. And no state protection or law is going to stop them from doing that if they want to do so. They don't have to tell you anything. And you know that. Joel Sachs, I'm talking to you. Okay, stop the BS, man. Come on. Stop it. Tell your people to communicate better. Okay? We're not children. We're grown human beings, and we have dignity. We're contractors. Have some respect, for goodness sake. I mean, this is pathetic, brother. This is pathetic, right? And then it says right here, they're talking about the key points from the contract detailing the protections. The contractor shall not use or disclose personal information in any manner that would constitute a violation of federal law. Well, there you go. They're not violating federal law because they have a contract with the federal government to tell on illegals. So we don't know how to read? I mean, what is this? Or applicable provisions of Washington state law, which is not going to trump federal laws. This is basic, okay? But you could read the whole thing because this is only the initial reaction. I just wanted to let you know they're still defending SOCI. And the union is doing it too. Okay? Saying right here, the contractor shall protect personal information collected, used, or acquired in connection with this contract. It's all BS. The contractor shall, once again, they have a contract with the federal government. And then the WFC union, recently, if you go to WhatsApp groups and stuff like that, people send me screenshots from Aida Sanchez Vela and Leticia and some of these people that are, supposedly leaders, saying that we're not defending SOCI. We didn't know. Look again. This is from today. LNI says we're going to audit, finally owning up a little bit too late, but owning up to their mistake. They said we're going to audit SOCI and we're going to be awarding a new contract for these services and we're going to do a request for proposals, whatnot, in April. So LNI is ready to move on from this problem. But look at this. This is Mark Hamilton talking now. Mark Hamilton says, SOCI confirmed in writing and verbally that to LNI that he has not accessed, used, or shared any information concerning interpreters or claimants for any purpose unrelated to the immediate needs of their work under our contract. Oh yeah? SOCI confirmed it. So we're good. Once again, another trust me, bro. SOCI tells the WFC Union, don't worry. I'm sending you in writing confirmation that we have not accessed or done anything. Like they have to tell you anything. Like they have to show you records when they have a contract with the federal government. The level of deception and gaslighting from this union is just insulting. It's unbelievable. And I'm sorry if you're taking this personal because you support WFC, okay? You're so gullible. Like, it's unbelievable. You still believe these people as an interpreter. Not only did you vote for them, you continue to give them your money, your hard-earned money, and they laugh in your faces. Look at this. The WFC Union, the Sanctuary Union, they're defending the company, telling on interpreters and injured workers to ICE. You cannot make this up, okay? And it says right here, he continues, I'm almost done. He continues, they've been direct in responding to our questions. Still, we want to make sure these safeguards are fully in place between our information and SOCI's federal contractors. This is Mark Hamilton talking. We remain committed to protecting and supporting Washington's injured workers and to keeping you informed on this issue. Yeah, you remain so committed that you show no opposition to LNI still having a contract with these people. You know, you couldn't muster up enough courage or balls to publicly denounce LNI, okay, to protect your union members that are interpreters. No, but you can't do that. You cannot upset Massa, right? Your masters. Because you also represent their workers, WFC Union. See, this is what they're not telling you. They represent the workers at the LNI headquarters. They don't want to mess up that relationship, and they don't care about your relationship with the WFC Union as a member. They want to take your money, laugh in your face, and if you complain too much, oh, you're uneducated, you're uninformed, you're ignorant, you don't know what you're talking about because we are in contact with them. We have the knowledge. We know how this works. We're professional organizers and labor works. I mean, shut up. You know, stop it. You sound so ridiculous. This condescending way of treating people, it's what's been leading up to this point. Okay? This is it. And if you keep on supporting this union, you keep on enabling that behavior. You keep on encouraging them to think of you as a lesser human being because you need them. Let me tell you this. This is happening. LNI is finally saying we had enough, okay, looking for some other options to award this contract to another company. That's what it looks like, okay, and to audit the SOCI union. And it's not because the WFC union advocated for it. They're auditing the SOCI company and awarding these interpreting services to another contract, to another company, this contract to another company. Is it because WFC asked for it? Read it yourself. They're still defending the SOCI company. They're letting you know about a letter from LNI informing everyone we're auditing the SOCI company once again, and we're going to award another contract for these services. We're going to have a bidding for it. LNI is telling WFC, look, we're going to be moving on. But WFC is still letting you know at the end, oh, they have been directing, responding our questions. And they have confirmed in writing right here and verbally that LNI that it has not accessed, used, or shared any information concerning interpreters or claimants for any purpose unrelated to the needs of their work under our contract. They're still defending the SOCI company. So I'm going to cut it short right here because I know it's 8:03. And we're going to stop it right here. I have some other things to do as well. But I wanted to let you know this is your union. There is a silver lining right here, and that silver lining, I'm going to highlight it again right here. Let me scroll a little bit more. Okay, this is the part of interest right here. We have contracted with an audit firm, okay, to verify and validate the protections that SOCI has in place. That work is starting now, and it'll take 2 or 3 months. Fine. Have your small victory. You're going to audit SOCI 2 or 3 months late, because we knew about this like 3 months ago. Now you're going to do some audit that's going to take 3 more months, 6 months for you to know they're contracting with ICE and they don't have to share that information with you. And they are obligated to work with the federal government. They don't have to let you know anything because the federal government is above you. Really? That's going to take 6 months? You're unbelievable. You're a disgrace. But however, have your small victory or cover your butt. Make it look like you're doing something while doing nothing. I mean, this is pathetic. But anyways, the good news right here is that it looks like right here, okay? Additionally, we're starting the process to award a new contract for these services. The first step will be to issue a new request for qualifications and quotations from potential bidders. We expect that to happen in April. There you go. If you got anything else from this short live stream, not even 40 minutes, know this. This is LNI's way of telling you without acknowledging anything that they messed up. Okay? This is them saying, okay, fine. We're going to look for another company. We're going to audit these people. Fine, leave me alone. But they don't have the decency or the respect to say, sorry, we messed up. Okay? We're going to fix this. No, they're still defending the company. And the WFC union is worse. This is happening because we don't have a strong union with their priorities clear. The WFC union's priorities are to police the state, to keep them happy, to capitulate to the state, and to save them money, whether you, as a worker interpreter, get any benefits or not. Since the WFC union was when they took over or started representing interpreters, DSHS interpreters, like 15, 16 years ago or so, we thought things were going to be good. And they were good for like 2 years. Then they started capitulating to the state. No more mileage. No 100% reimbursement for no-shows and cancellations. A cap of $100,000 a year for those no-shows and cancellations that goes away in like 3 months or so. You know what I mean? It's pathetic. The state says we don't have money for this, and WFC says, okay, whatever you want, state. Interpreters will understand. You have Milena Calderari-Waldron saying that we have to be good stewards of the state's funds. Interpreters should not be paid to drive, but to interpret. Oh my gosh. Such a good steward of money that's not hers. Instead of looking for the best interest of their workers. This is what you get. It's pathetic. We don't have mileage. We have gas that's actually very expensive in our state because many other states, you go and the gas, the gallon of gas is just like $2, $2.50. But here, because they want to, they want to be contrarians and they want to play political games against the administration in power now, they're raising the taxes on these, oil companies. So all these oil companies, they have to jack up the prices for gas because of this stupidity. And the WFC union is no better. So this is what you're getting. But that's it. This is the video. Let me let you know that I'm going to be emailing you guys and sharing some videos. You have to know what's going on with clinics, with interpreters. These interpreters that are being blocked, the incident resolution process is not being respected. And, people that you're going to be surprised of are benefiting from this, even abusing patients. I have all of this information. And my purpose in sharing this information is not to create, sensationalism. It's not to excite, the gossip or anything like that. It's because you need to know. Because if you don't know, you keep on supporting these good for nothing leaders, that deceive you, gaslight you, and trick you into giving them your money for no reason. So I want you to be blessed. Hopefully, they're gonna be awarding this contract to a new company very soon. Like they said, they'll do the bidding in April. Hopefully, we'll get a new company. We would have been better off if the state would have left Interpreting Works intact. Interpreting Works, like I said, I'm gonna say it again. When they started, they had some issues. I read the relationship they had with the union, mostly the right way, but I didn't see the manipulation from the union. And I came to open my eyes. And guess what? The Interpreting Works company, in the end, was working beautifully. We didn't have any of these issues. Their system is so efficient. Their software is just top-notch. The best software out there, I gotta say. Okay, we didn't have any of these issues that we're having with the SOCI company. So hopefully they'll give the contract again to Interpreting Works or a similar company with a similar software. Not the same, because they can't have the same contract. The same software. But hopefully we'll get a good company, and a company that's going to respect and support interpreters. God bless you. I'll see you in the next one. Whether you are a DSHS or an LNI interpreter, you do have the right to opt out of the WOFSI union and stop paying union dues. We must get rid of this horrible union. So go to optouttoday.com/WOFSI1671 to do so and keep your hard-earned money. See you in the next one.